So therefore, the first science happened, which is physics, which just explains the laws of energy and matter. And then gradually, as you move forward, we reached chemistry. Chemistry was the science that explained the engagement and the interaction between energy and matter. So besides everything else that chemistry established, one critical principle that chemistry established was the fact that in every transaction, energy is either consumed or produced. We need to again remember this. So the first principle we need to remember is the fact that the sum of all matter and energy is constant and they all flow from one to the other. And the grosser it is, its matter, the higher the frequency, the more the energy. The second principle we need to remember is that in every transaction, energy is either consumed or produced. And then, of course, we got to more complex forms of chemistry and we started talking about organic chemistry. We started talking about isotopes, different forms of carbon. We started studying the world that was defined by carbon in Western chemistry, which was the world of life. Life in various forms, whether it's life forms in algae or fungi or plants or animals or human beings or indeed even rocks. And so that became organic chemistry. Chemistry got more complicated. Slowly, chemistry got even more complicated, introduced the idea of fission and fusion and aging and half-lives. All of that happened. As chemistry got more and more complex, we started moving into biology. Biology was even more complex engagements between energy and matter. So there were engagements where growth started happening and photosynthesis happened and food happened and digestion and metabolism and evolution and movement and aging, death, life, existence, all of that started happening in biology. In biology, we slowly moved up from lower celled organisms, your protoplasm and protozoa and amoeba, and slowly we moved up to the structure of the cell, to plant existence, to the plant pathology, to animal pathology, etc., 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 till we reached human beings. All this science explains. When we started studying human beings, because the only unit we had to study human beings was matter and energy and biology and chemistry. So therefore, we've understood even in the present day medical science, we understand the biochemistry of the human body. Right? Frankly, with COVID just having passed, we all have a very good idea of things like lung capacity, what is the oxygen, what is the SpO2 levels. So we've learned to decode the human body in its biology and chemistry. So when we study your digestion, we study your basal metabolic rate, we study at what rate does the protein break down into amino acids, the starch break down into glucose, etc., etc. And when we measure your workout and if you're exercising, we measure the rate of lactation, we measure your lung capacity. In fact, so much so that even when we have to study the human brain or our human thought, the only tangible unit we have is the amount of electrical throughput in your brain. How much electricity does your brain generate? And that really is the unit of our understanding of human existence, right? So we've reached one level of science evolution where we understand the human physiology, we understand the human biochemistry, and then we've reached the other end of science where we understand energy matter and then we started studying it in the laws of energy matter. Now here's where it gets very fascinating. Anything beyond the realm of human biochemistry becomes a conversation which is a spiritual conversation. It's a stream of consciousness conversation. It becomes a conversation that's a hocus pocus conversation. It's a gray area at one end. And fascinatingly, at the other end, when you went back into physics, the deeper you went into matter and got into nanophysics, got into quantum physics, got into particle physics, the deeper you went in there, the less you found matter and the more you found energy. So much so that the last frontier of matter study in physics is actually called the God particle, the Higgs boson particle. So Whether you went deeper into physics and science, or you went higher into human biology and evolution and the human mind, everything that you understood became science. Everything that you didn't understand became stream of consciousness, became spiritual, became religious conversation.